Angels and Mariners, the first of 4 tonight, and this is their last series against the A's, and this is yesterday. 7 solo homers, 2 via the long ball of Shohei Ohtani, and they still ended up losing the game, guys, 8-7. It's just, it's been that kind of year for L.A. There's Shohei, number 2 there. And then, by the way, the game before that, they lost 3-1, and Ohtani, he pitched 5 2/3 innings before leaving with some forearm cramp, and he struck out 7, and they got the loss 3-1. So it's obviously starting to take its toll. Here's Shohei on staying motivated when losing often. Remaining motivated in that way is hard. We're not in a place where it's good to just think if you do what you can do in this one at bat or one inning or get a result against this one batter and pile that up and just win the game. And back inside Studio 3 with Cam Maben and Dan O'Dowd. I am Fran Charles. So that is, it's puzzling. Cam, let me start with you for Shohei. I mean, but, and look, you've been on some teams that have won. You've been on some teams that have lost a little bit more than you won. How difficult is it, especially when there are expectations, there were at least at the beginning of the year, for this team to contend, and then kind of the bottom's kind of falling out?
I can't tell you how, you know, with 50-plus games left in the season, how long that feels when you're on a bad team, when you're losing games. And the worst thing that can happen for a team is guys start waking up and start thinking, I got to get mine today. And that's what I'm seeing right now. Guys getting hurt, guys getting injured. They don't have any pitching that they truly trust right now. They've got rid of Syndergaard. I mean, scoring runs has not been an issue for the Angels over the years. It's been trying to find constant arms that can get outs, guys that can make defensive plays behind you. And right now, you know, for a guy like Shohei Ohtani, when Mike Trout is out, when Rondon is hurt, and it seems to be chronic, it seems to be something every season with Rondon, it can become extremely frustrating when you're a superstar like Shohei, when you're taking the ball on the bump one day, when you're coming up to the plate the next day, and you're doing it on both ends, and you're looking around you, and you feel like all you're doing is going backwards. It can become completely frustrating and detrimental for the squad, and keeping a guy like this around long term as well.
Well, yeah, I'm going to really get on a soapbox here, so hopefully you've blocked off some time. I agree with everything Cam has said. But the reality is, guys, when you argue with reality, you lose, but only 100% of the time. And when I look at this Angel franchise, those are all correct assessments. It goes so much deeper for me than that. It's the constant repeating of the same mistakes. Hey, listen, unbelievable ownership group there. Yep. Incredible human beings, want to win more than anybody in the game. But someone in that organization at some point in time is going to have to step up and say, okay, let's look at the last time we were really good, and then ask why. Look at 2002. Erstad, Salmon, Anderson, Glaus, Benji Molina. For me, aircraft carriers in the role that they played in. They drafted well. Those guys came up together. There was this sense of purpose to this club, and they played an Angel brand of baseball. It went on and on to Edmonds, and it went on to Ibar, and it kept going on because they did such a good job in drafting and developing. Since then, it's been the one player away mentality that we're close to winning, and it's like cutting out a piece of the cancer that's not curing the cancer. They've drafted, again, okay, but they're not impact players. They're all complementary parts, or you could say up, down, big league guys, except the guy at number 2 is so great at what he does. It creates this false narrative that one player in our sport can carry a team. It just doesn't work that way.
Sport. I agree, not that sport.
And it's just at some point in time, the Angels now have gotten to the point, no one wants them to win more than the people in this network, because Mike Trout is such a joy to watch play. Right. They've got to make some hard decisions. The reality of it is Ohtani's probably going to leave. And if he doesn't leave, they're going to offer him more money than they can afford because they can't fill out all the other areas. At some point in time, they really just have to look in the mirror and say, I'm not saying they need to go through a total rebuild, but somehow they have to say, this is not working. How can we get back to being that great Angels team that we had a pretty good long run, that had a definitive way they played baseball? I've looked at the Angels team for the last 6, 7 years since I've been doing this job, and I look at them and go, I don't know what they're defined as. They don't do one thing that you look at and say, oh, that's Angel baseball. And they've got to get back to that point. And they need to look at the reality of your situation, because you can avoid reality in our game all you want. You just can't avoid the consequences of avoiding that reality continually over a long period of time.
And I think the point you make is a great one about thinking that you're one player away, because, and it's hard. It's a mind game. They go to the World Series in 2002, and they feel like, okay, well, let's see if we can sustain this a little bit. And then you just kind of keep thinking, hey, we'll
because Mike Trout does that to you,
right?
Because he's such a great player that he can literally carry a team for months at a time. It's just our sport's just not. It's not an NFL quarterback. It's not LeBron James. You got to have a whole team of good players.
Yeah, Cam. In the big sports, to me, baseball is the hardest to win a championship. I mean, harder than football. You need a great quarterback. Basketball, you get a couple different guys on the court that can change the complexion of your franchise. Hockey as well. But baseball is the most individual team sport that there is.
Yeah, and Dan, for me, Dan is right. And when he breaks it down, for me, it's about foundation. The catcher position, the shortstop position, one or two guaranteed guys who are your starters in center field. And when I look at it, for years, they have not had that. Catching, short, center, and clearly Mike Trout, he's the guy. But they really lack some core foundational pieces that really push your organization and propel them into the right direction.
Gotta get some arms, too. I mean,
and that's a part of that foundation that they clearly continue to never get.
All right.